Hey family, how you doing? Welcome back to another session talks. I know it's been a minute. OMG, I know it has been a minute. So hey y'all, welcome. How y'all doing? Did you miss me? Did you miss me on live? I missed y'all. Those of you who don't know or who haven't caught on, I do not do lives in the summer. Why don't I do lives in the summer? Well, because the summer is my chance to my opportunity to get into different bags, to I don't know, hone in on different projects that I want to make sure that I have lined up for the fall, because it is fall season, it is sweater weather. Love me a sweater weather, but this is the season that I like to thrive. Um, so yeah, if you haven't already done so, make sure you guys tune into Uncomfortable Conversations podcast. Um, where we have different conversations like this. So we don't, like I said, I took a pause from the lives, but we back, and we better. So welcome, welcome back. We have our lovely guest of the day who is going to join us, and we're just going to get started from there. So let me actually see if I could request her to join. Let me see. And then we're going to get started. Let's see. A few minutes to join, and then we're good to go. Oh, there
Greetings.
you go. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you? How are you?
Pretty good today, pretty good.
Good. I'm so excited. I usually do. First off, my name is Raquel Simmons. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I am gonna do my introductions, but I just wanted to say thank you for joining. I think this is gonna be very, very, very a really good show, a really good live. I'm really looking forward to it. And this is my first live back. I usually do lives during the fall, take a break during the summer. This summer I have been promoting my podcast. And in the fall, in the summer, I prepare things for the fall. So I'm just like, this is my first live back. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you, especially because I am a marriage and family therapist, and I have a lot of people who come up to me and asking me about the questions and the topics that we're going to speak about today. So I'm like super excited to get this out. I would have had you on my podcast, but I'm like, no, I want you on the live. And I started the lives early because I wanted you here so that people could get like a first hand, you know what I mean? Like a first hand feel. So it's not like we're not waiting so long for me to put out a podcast, so people could hear you engage with you, interact with everything that you have to offer to this conversation. So thank you so much again for joining me.
We're here. We're excited. And thank you for, being following our page, as well as we are kind of just jumping off the porch with the directory. We've had the page for a while, but we are just jumping off the porch with the directory. So we are definitely amped up and excited about all the new energy coming in.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to do a quick introduction, and then we're going to get right into it. So thank you guys for joining. For those who are new here, my name is Raquel Simmons. I am a marriage and family therapist. And this is In Session MFT, where we focus on conversations that we need to be a part of, the importance of having conversations, because just because we're not having them doesn't mean that these conversations doesn't need to be said or talked about. And just normalizing different conversations within, especially the Black and Brown community. I am here joined with the amazing Pametria Brown, and I have been like stalking your page, so I cannot wait to actually talk. And she is the founder and CEO of Black Therapist Matters Directory. So, Prometria, thank you so much for joining. I'm like really excited. I'm like, I don't know if you can tell. I'm actually really excited to have you because, like I just said, I have been stalking your page for a while. So I definitely want to kind of grab certain things from that page as we continue our conversation. But
Okay.
before we get into that, can you just let everybody know who you are, what you do, just all the things.
Absolutely. I appreciate saying my name
Oh,
correctly because there's
hello.
always people like, oh,
Uh,
there's
we
always a thing.
we
Black
gonna say
girl,
it
long
right.
black
We
girl
gonna say
name
it right.
problems. Okay. So we already in there. We already locked in just off of
Love
that. Okay.
it.
So I am a Memphis girl, born and raised, big Memphis, not the
Oh,
little one.
period.
And I am a licensed clinical social worker. And so in Memphis, I host a lot of workshops on mental health. I do a lot of social media content, even outside of like the directory. This is just what I do
Mm-hmm.
anyway. And so the directory transition into that just kind of organically happened because as a therapist, people are always inboxing me and asking about, hey, can you be my therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you know someone who?
Yeah.
So it just kind of, I always tell people like if someone is constantly asking you for things, then maybe you need to figure out a way to package that
Correct.
and figure out how to offer that as a service or a
Mm-hmm.
product to other people. So that's kind of how the directory was born. But I am a true Black girl who really just supports which they graduate from U of M. Okay, me too, girl.
Oh,
Hey. Um,
period.
so I'm all things Black girls, Black women, Black people. And in my private practice, that is primarily who I serve, Black women and adolescent girls. And so I am a real big proponent on people finding the therapist that they need, not just
Mm-hmm.
because the person is Black, but someone who is going to provide what it is that you need. And we all have different needs. So that's the general gist of it, a little
Mm-hmm.
snapshot.
Okay, I love that, and I want to pick apart a lot of the things that you said. But why, like, outside of people coming up, and I second that, like, people come up to me like, can you be my therapist, which is awesome, and I appreciate it. And also, I'm just one person. So you can't be everybody's therapist. So what kind of geared you towards, all right, this is the time, this is when I'm going, like, why, like, what's your why on overall creating this directory?
Okay. So I am a spirit led person,
Okay.
and I am as a Scorpio, I'm a deep thinker.
Okay.
I have ideas like anybody you know who is a Scorpio, specifically a woman, like they are very creative. They have a lot of good ideas
Yes.
and they don't mind jumping off the porch.
Yeah.
I am a professional porch jumper. Okay. So so I had the idea to create this Instagram
Mm-hmm.
page years ago.
Okay.
And so this Instagram page has organically grown, and we have just spotlighted and promoted Black therapists throughout the years and provided resources and things like that in mental health. And so there was already a platform separately from what I was doing in my own practice or wanting to further my own platform as with my personal brand. And so I've been an LMSW for years. I just got my clinical
All right.
license.
Wait. Okay.
Look, I just got my clinical license in April. That's a whole nother testimony about that. That's a whole nother thing.
Exactly.
But I have been a person who has done trainings on not letting your license limit your gifts, right? And
Mm.
so operating within your jurisdiction, right? But also not building a brand or figuring out what you're passionate about outside of those letters. And so before I ever got the LCSW in April, I was already public speaking. I was already an author. I was already doing training. I was already a
Oh,
therapist. So those letters were just like something that I had to do,
yeah.
but I was already that girl.
Yeah.
Be clear. I was already that
Hello.
girl doing the work. And so I know that everybody doesn't have that natural umph to go out there and do the public speaking or to do the trainings and to, write books and do those things. So once I was kind of really trying to figure out what to do with this platform that was building because the page was organically growing on its own.
Right.
And so I'm like, there's the audience. What can I do to help other mental health professionals or people
Mm-hmm.
who are on this page? And so I wanted to kind of offer coaching in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
but not specifically like life coaching or anything like that, but offering them an audience. And so with the directory, I already had a notebook. I don't have it in here, but most therapists have a referral book, right?
Yeah.
You have a network of therapists who you refer people to. And so because I had this page and I travel and I speak, I meet therapists all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just I'm referring people in my city, I'm referring therapists in Chicago, in Florida, in Louisiana. And so people would inbox this page and say, hey, can you help me find a therapist? And so I'm like, let me look at my little notebook. Okay, let me look at my notebook. And as my notebook grew, I'm like, that's what I can do
Mm-hmm.
with this page. That's what I can do with this page and help the community find greater access to finding Black people. Of course, there are other directories. There is Psychology Today. We got Therapy for Black Girls. We have several other directories. However, some of the services and resources that we offer is definitely unique, especially for the price point that we offer it.
Okay. If you don't mind, could you kind of go into the uniqueness of your platform as opposed to the other ones that you have mentioned?
Absolutely. So, of course, Psychology Today is going to be like the go-to. If
Yeah.
you're looking for a therapist of any kind, like Psychology Today, most of us have a Psychology Today
Mm-hmm.
profile. But it can be harder to weed through and find the Black people, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times we in the corner, you gotta, you gotta
Zoom
click
in.
to find the Black people, right? So, people have created directories that are specific to different groups, right? You
Yeah.
have people who have queer directories for indigenous people, directories for, Asian, like it's all sorts of things so that you can find what you're looking for without being offended because someone wants to find the type of therapist that they feel like they can connect with.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, our directory is for the therapist, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so of course the community can go on there and find therapists because yes, that's what they're there for. We are helping them to promote and broaden their reach, but the packaging is really for the therapist and supporting them to push themselves further. Last week we did so we do a therapist of the month every month,
Mm-hmm.
right? So last week, was it last week? Yeah, last week was our first highlight where we did our one-on-one interview. That therapist who we did, one of the things included in her being the feature is her being able to host Instagram lives on our page. A lot of the therapists who follow us or who are members have never done that. They've never led their own lives. So we start with like how I'm joining your live, letting
Mm-hmm.
them join and becoming comfortable, becoming acclimated, and pushing them out there a little bit more and providing them with the training so that they can feel more comfortable building their platform, building their audience, and strengthening their public
Yeah.
speaking skills, right?
Yeah.
Or if they're wanting to publish their own worksheets or be able to create their own products, right? We also have courses and trainings that we'll be offering for them if they're interested in creating their own products. So different like live streams that we'll have or trainings that we'll have that are exclusive to our members is something different than a lot of the other directories where it's like you're just paying for the advertisement
Mm-hmm.
and they may offer resources for the consumer, but we're really trying to equip the therapist in being able to market themselves better, not just hey come book me for a session, but being able to push themselves further with doing the public speaking, doing groups, doing trainings, doing those sorts of things to expand their revenue,
Nice. So what I'm hearing is that you basically are coaching and training therapists while also promoting them.
while also promoting them. It's three different tiers to our
Okay.
website,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So it just depends on what you want. You might just be like, okay, girl, don't worry about that. I already do those things,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to be featured on the website. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a base level membership. That's $5 a month,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
You doing can you take a gas for $5? Okay, so
Right.
um, you know what I'm saying? So this literally the change at the bottom of our purse. And so that is just for being featured on the website, being able to for people to search for you and find you,
Mm-hmm.
right? We also are really good about integrating our members into um, the website, right? So if you go to our website, you're not seeing stock images. All of the pictures, all of the people that you see on our website, those are actual members of our website, right? So
Mm-hmm.
those are actual real therapists. And so they're featured in their pictures. So you have more visibility on there as well as on our Instagram page. We're very active on Instagram. And so it's just additional publicity or additional visibility that you receive as well as opportunity because people inbox us all the time. Hey, I'm looking for a therapist in
Right.
Chicago to speak for this event, right? So we go to our website, we look at the people who are premium and exclusive members first.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would email them about these opportunities, or people they want somebody to do some type of PR, they want someone to write an article, as well, like certain things like that people are looking for Black therapists for a panel
Wow.
discussion. So we would send it to our members first, just for those who are, exclusive or premium members of our website.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay, I love that. I love that. That's actually huge. Especially the representation of and the support that a lot of Black therapists, like you just said, um, that we wouldn't regularly get with like Psychology Today, where you have to like zoom in to figure it out or find out. And it sounds like it incorporates community, which I really love, because the importance of community in general within the black and brown community is we're here but we're scarce. And I want to kind of go into that, of like the representation of a Black therapist. Like, how important do you feel like that is in general,
So
and why do you feel
think
like that's important?
I think it is absolutely necessary for our community. Now, I'm a person where I don't feel that every Black person needs a Black therapist, right?
Okay.
Because what you're coming to therapy for, that may not be priority. So we are really big on what getting what you need,
Okay.
right? And so on our website, when you go to the directory page where you can list and see the
Mm-hmm.
therapist, it's going to ask you questions. And so it's going to ask you to consider the age of your therapist. Does that matter to you
Mm-hmm.
if the person is older than you, younger than you, same age? Do you prefer male or female? Do you prefer someone who is a member of the LGBTQIA community? Do you want someone who is an ally? Do you want a Christian therapist? So there are other components that come with it. And depending on why I'm coming to therapy, if I have experienced significant trauma and it has manifested into now I have a eating disorder, I have
Mm-hmm.
developed, intense anxiety, I have an eating disorder, my confidence is low. Everybody doesn't specialize in those
Right.
things. So it may be something very unique that I'm coming to therapy for, and I want someone who specializes in that. So
Right.
regardless of their race, what's priority for me is my PTSD, and I need somebody that's going to help me work through this,
Right.
right? But if you are looking for a Black therapist, I think that you should be able to find what you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is like just like dating, honey. We can have our preferences. I'm never offended when somebody is like, they do a consultation with me if they don't want to continue services, because this is your journey.
Yeah.
This is your journey, and that is the number one successor in terms of how people rate engagement in therapy in terms of how well you get along with your therapist.
Right.
So if you don't even like me, girl, what we gonna do?
Nothing.
Girl, if you don't like the sound of my voice, girl, you gonna hate it here because I talk. So I tell a lot of people like I'm very much hey girl, hey with my people. I'm loud, I'm extra. All of this is what happens in the therapy
Love
sessions.
that.
And so if you don't want that and you want someone that's more demure, you know what I'm saying? You may need to find another therapist, right? And I'm not gonna feel any type of way about that. In fact, I'm gonna send you my directory and tell you, come on, let's go look and find
Mhm.
somebody that you like. So that's a helpful tool for me too. If I'm not a good fit for you, let me send you this link and let's try to find somebody who would be better for you or who accepts your insurance. So I'm never offended if someone doesn't want a Black therapist, but I think for everybody who does, it should be easier for them to access us. And so that's what we are trying to do, is making it easier for us to be visible and for it to be a quality therapist, right? And that's a good fit for you because everybody needs are different. So get what you need. That's our phrase, honey. Get what you need.
That's for sure. And I'm so happy that you pointed that out. Or two things that you pointed out is that everybody does not need a black therapist. So I'm so happy that you pointed that out because I know that there's some pressure there. You don't want to you we're used to seeing like the white therapist and that representation, but and also that we used to seeing that as like maybe like that's the only way or that's a negative way to look at it. And so people are oftentimes saying like I don't want this like white person judging me and certain things like that. But so I'm really happy that you have pointed out get what you need out of it. So making sure that you're going into therapy, speaking to a therapist who specializes in what you're looking for rather than what they look like. So I'm,
Absolutely.
I'm actually happy that you pointed that out because that's something that you don't necessarily hear often, especially in this age where we're looking into like aesthetics and everybody wants to say that they're in therapy, but nobody actually wants to do like the real
Do the
work
work.
within it.
Come on now.
And so it's really I'm really happy that you said that because therapy is the work. It doesn't like what I mean. Granted, I get it. Like representation definitely matters, and also what are you gonna do while you're in there?
Come
And
on.
what are you getting out from while you're there? So I'm really happy that you pointed that out because that's something that we don't necessarily hear often, and it's a really good takeaway for sure. And speaking of that, so what do you think, or I want to get into some of like the taboos of like, the superficial things that we have learned and how much you feel like it has grown within therapy.
Okay.
And so one of the things, and I'm going to pick apart some of the things that I've been like viewing, and I told you I was stalking your page, but one of the things that,
Come on.
you've been able to have a conversation about is a topic on is therapy a scam. And so some of the taboo of especially within the black and brown community is like, oh my god, we like you don't want to go tell nobody your family business. What do you think something is completely wrong with you? You have to be like ill, like out, just sick to even go to therapy. You mentioned
Mhm.
that you're going to therapy to your grandmother, and it's like, what you doing that for? What's wrong with you? Which is usually
Got
like the
that C
response,
word
like,
ready.
mm-hmm. So, and now Transformers, these days everybody's like saying, you know what, yeah, therapy, oh my therapist said, or certain things like that. And so do you feel like or why do you feel like there has been like a huge shift in the way that people think or thought about therapy then and now? So I know this is super loaded. So one of the things that I'm gonna pick apart the question. Um, but one of the things that you have mentioned is therapy being a scam, which I feel like is a historical thought process. So can you just speak more about that and where do you feel like that would have came from?
So I think that when people come to therapy and they are not ready to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
um, it will feel like nothing, this is not working. This is a waste of my time. You just in here to take my money. So it
Mm-hmm.
will, in that aspect, feel like a scam because it's not the same as a traditional science of medicine where I have a physical ailment. I go to my doctor and I get a shot or I take a prescription and boom, things are supposed to get better, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is a different type of science, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when this is not as quick because we are a society of instant
Hello.
gratification, right? And
Yeah.
so when you're not getting that microwave, you're not getting that immediate sense of relief from certain things. And a lot of times when you're going through your therapeutic journey, it's going to get worse before it gets better because
Yeah.
now we are opening up things that we had suppressed. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
now those feelings are rising to the top and it's sitting with you. All that anger is no longer anger, but the hurt and the disappointment and the
Mm-hmm.
sadness and the betrayal is sitting right there. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is ugly. Oh, this is real. I'm talking about childhood trauma. I'm talking about things that I buried deep down inside
Yeah.
or things that I didn't even remember happened. And
Yeah.
now through walking through this journey of therapy, you got me feeling bad and now I'm still cutting up. So we don't know how to measure our progress and we don't recognize the incremental steps that it takes to get
Mm-hmm.
to growth. So it will feel like, oh, this is a waste of time. This is a scam because I'm not immediately seeing the results of
Yeah.
it. And it's a journey. It's a journey. And I actually hate when people say, like, you're not healed or I healed from that. Healing is
Mm.
ongoing.
Yeah.
Emotional healing is ongoing, right? Especially with those deep wounds, deep emotional wounds. This is not just a destination, this is a journey. And so I
Yeah.
just can't stress that enough for people. And I try to emphasize it when I do consultations that, we're going to open it up, but you are the person doing the work.
Right.
I'm guiding you. I'm riding shotgun in the car, but you are driving. You're
Mm-hmm.
driving, right? And so it's not my job to steer the wheel
Yeah.
for you. It's not my job to do that. It's my job to say, hey, I think maybe we should take a left. And if you say,
Mm-hmm.
girl, no, we keep it straight. Okay, we
Okay.
keep it straight. Just so you know, if we keep straight, we probably gonna run into a whole lot of traffic and we're gonna be waiting for additional 3 hours. But you got it, dog. And if you decide to keep straight, then you keep straight. And there we are. And we're sitting there. And now we can process why you decided to keep straight and talk about your decision making skills a little bit more, right? So
Yeah.
but it's your journey. So I think that scam thought comes that it's not working. It's not working for me because I'm not doing the work.
Right.
So that part. And then I think the other half of your question was about the
Yeah.
historical context of don't tell our business to
Yeah.
now like people being open talking about I'm in therapy,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that as a society, um, specifically in the Black and Brown community, I'll say, the Black community, I'll speak more historical. Our grandparents didn't have the luxury of going to therapy. That was not even a relevant thought. A
Right.
lot of times they weren't even able to go to medical
Yeah.
providers, nor did they trust medical providers due
Yeah.
to the historical context of what was happening to Black people in this country.
Yeah.
So you telling me to go to the doctor and I go to the doctor and I'm being experimented on and I'm getting some type of disease just because I went to the doctor, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm talking to someone about emotionally what's going on with me, and that person looks like my oppressor.
Mm.
Why would I go into that environment? Why would I willingly go into that environment when you don't treat me well outside of here? So why would I walk into that fire? So as the field of mental in terms of more Black people like getting degrees in this field. And so the face of mental health has changed.
Yeah.
And so now it's like we have to be advocates to tell our community, like, y'all, it's okay. It's okay to
Mm.
come over here,
It's
right? It's
here.
okay to come over here. And so it's okay. It's okay over here. It's a vibe over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people talk about why y'all making it a big deal about Black people coming to therapy, but we have to open up the conversation,
Yeah.
not just in a cute way where like, oh, only if I'm looking for therapy. We get in the trenches. You'll see us in the shade room comments. You might see us on Twitter page. You might see us in, the neighborhood talk, wherever, because that's where the community
Yeah.
is. If we're talking about the social media space, in real life, we're in the club. We might pass out flyers in the club. We passing out flyers in the airport.
Yeah.
We outside
Yeah.
because that's where the people are. And if you are waiting for people to automatically come to you, you're going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting. You have to be able to get in the trenches, especially if you're trying to reach the Black community, because we need to know that you are right. We need to know that you
Right.
okay. So it's transitioning because the face of mental health is shifting, as well as social media conversations, making it more normalized to talk about it and not feel ostracized because you going to therapy. What's wrong with you? You crazy? What's wrong with you? Because there was something that we previously hid. Everybody had an uncle or something that was hid. Oh, he a little off.
Yeah.
He off. Uncle Baby off. And
Right.
that's it. And everybody know what they mean. He get a check, he a little off, and that's just what it is. Right? Or uncle or somebody that had been in the war and they didn't come back quite right.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's always been relevant, but actually going and talking about it and doing something about it, there was a luxury that our parents and grandparents just did not have.
Yeah.
And now we do have that luxury of prioritizing it as the insurance companies are covering things now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
barely,
Yeah. Yeah.
barely, barely,
Oh, another
but they,
conversation.
but they are starting to cover it and all of that. So that's why we are seeing these shifts in the trends of how mental health is being viewed, and people being more comfortable talking about it, so that it's not so taboo to even talk about going to therapy and needing a therapist.
Right. Definitely. Thank you so much because I definitely agree with that. And the access. I think that social media, it's has its ups and downs, definitely for sure. So just the access to be able to reach out to people that you definitely wouldn't be able to have a conversation with otherwise, definitely I feel like plays a huge part on the representation as a whole for sure.
Mhm.
So one of the things that you said within the beginning of when we first started talking was the clients that you see are predominantly women and adolescents.
Uh-huh.
And so I wanted to kind of just speak on, do you feel like you have been able to visualize or see any common themes within meeting with
Mhm.
those two populations?
Well, so I work primarily with Black women. I advertise and speak to that
Mm-hmm,
is in terms of like with my
mm-hmm,
marketing. But I do see people who are not in that, demographic. I have some men
mm-hmm.
as well as some Caucasian women, and I have worked before private practice when I have worked at other places. Be clear, I can work with
Right.
anybody. I can work with everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
the clients all get what they need, right? However, the population that I'm most passionate about
Yeah.
are those two groups, right?
Okay. Okay.
And so, I wouldn't necessarily say there is a theme across my
Okay.
clients. Maybe with the adolescent girls, because I do a lot of sassy Black girls with a bad attitude. So teenagers are going to be teenagers, but I have teens who are coming to therapy for a variety of reasons. It could be behavioral problems. It could be eating disorders.
Right.
It could be depression, anxiety, self-esteem, confidence. I do get a lot of people, teenagers, due to confidence, because I talk a lot about self-esteem and confidence, and I do workshops around it.
Okay.
So a lot of the teens that I get, may their parents may reach out to me because of wanting to build their daughter's confidence,
Right.
right? But
Right.
that teen that's needing confidence could be an autistic teenager. It could be, someone having an eating disorder, because self-esteem is the root of a
Right.
lot of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it could be manifesting in a different diagnosis, but that self-esteem could be at the bottom layer for, self-esteem or trauma, just depending on what is going on with the particular client. So I
Yeah.
can't say that there is necessarily a trend with my teenagers. Maybe my women, in relationships, not making enough time for
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Um, Prioritizing relationships over happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a thing amongst Black women right now. And the
Yeah.
pressure of, needing to be married,
Yeah.
needing to be
Yeah.
partnered, right? Or your
So,
value is diminished, right? Your value is diminished due to not having a partner, from
yeah.
society perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
that may also be somewhat of a theme that is across the board with certain clients, just due to the population. But I see, a variety of Black women with, various things that they're coming to therapy for.
Right. I definitely agree with that, especially the pressures that society are putting or has been putting on Black women for sure. So those are some of the things that I have been able to view. And so with that being said, how do you or what would you tell somebody who was ready to go to therapy or who had never been to therapy, never been exposed to therapists at all, and is trying to figure out if now is the right time to attend?
Okay. So I always encourage people, so I like to say, shopping for a therapist, right?
Okay.
And so always look for the free consultation.
Mm-hmm.
Always look for the free consultation, because before you waste or invest any time, energy, or money in therapy, because therapy can be expensive depending on what your budget is, right? Um, do the free consultation to see if this person seems to be a good fit for you, right? Ask the questions. Don't just let the therapist do all of the talking. Talk about what you need. Think about what's important to you. So when you get ready to start your journey, ask yourself, what is it that you're wanting to get out of therapy?
Yeah.
What is it that you're hoping to gain from therapy? And what are you willing to do to get to the other side of your happiness, right? So heavy on the what are you willing to do? What
Mm-hmm.
are you willing to do? Because we don't have a magic wand. We can guide you on the journey, but we just cannot, bippity boppity boop you.
Right.
And things are just gonna be like, because I always say, if that was the case, baby, I would be like bippity
Hello.
boppity boop.
Every-
Hello, I would be starting with self, right? So we all have things that we want to change, that we want to work on,
Mhm.
obstacles that we have because we're humans, right?
Mhm.
So anybody that is interested in coming to therapy, sit with yourself
Mhm.
first and think about if you have the energy to commit to the
Mhm.
process, and don't think like, oh, I'm gonna go to therapy for 3 times and it's gonna be
Yeah.
done, girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You know, you got to buckle up and be prepared to do the work. So, asking yourself, are you prepared for the journey? And that's something I do ask people in my consultation. Why is now a good time for you to start
Right.
therapy? You've been before. Okay, why did that work out? Did it not work out? Okay, cool. So why now? Why
Mhm.
are you ready now? And so sometimes people say, yeah, I'm ready. They don't be ready. And sometimes they like, I'm tired. I'm tired of, this same cycle. And they say they're ready and they actually are, and they're willing to show up for themselves and we get some good work done.
Mhm. What does ready look like for you?
It looks different for everybody, but for me, when I assess if a client is ready and like if I want to move forward with somebody after the consultation, red flag for me. I do free consultations. So if we got to reschedule your free consultation 3 times, bye.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because you're
for
not
sure.
even in the door yet, and you showing
Are
out.
you sure?
You showing out, and that's why I do the little 15-minute consultation. Because I rather you play with my time for 15 minutes than you play with my
Mhm.
hour, right? So, are you actually committing to it, or are you showing up for the consultation and you got your homegirls in the car, y'all at the beauty supply
Everything
store, y'all doing?
else in the
Girl, I
back.
get
Oh.
it. I get it's virtual, but girl, sit
Mhm.
down, have a seat, take
Yeah.
some time for you. Are you able to allocate the time to prioritize your needs? And as Black women, we multitasking. We in charge of so many
Mhm.
things and so many people. So actually taking the time to sit still
Yeah.
and give yourself that hour, that's the indicator that you may not be ready if you are not able to, you in the carpool line, you're doing all of this. We multitask. Well, that's why
Right.
you get to choose what time is a good
Mhm.
time for you to sit down.
Yeah.
Sit on down, even if it's virtual, right? Sit on down
Right.
and allocate the hour because I'm not driving with you. I'm not
No.
gonna do it. I'm
I'm
not
not
gonna be no
driving
witness
with
to
you.
the
I'm not looking
exiting.
at your forehead. We not grocery shopping. We not doing not. We not cooking. We yes.
Sat down, sat on down somewhere, right? So those are things that are indicators for me in the consultation, and I do reiterate to people like, I need your camera on because I'm 100% virtual. So like, I
Mm.
need your camera on. I need to be able to look at you. I'm big on body language, and like, I need to be able to see. I need to see your eyes shifting. If you telling me something, I'm looking for the rolling of the eyes. I'm looking for all of
Yeah.
those things. I'm looking for the deep breath and all of that. So it's important for me to be able to see you and for you to really be able to lock in for this time.
Mhm. Just a thought. Like, do you feel like it is difficult to complete therapy virtually as opposed to in person?
So I used to think that there would be a thing because I have big energy, right? All the time. Like what's her name? Jennifer Lewis, but you act like this every day, every damn day. Every day, okay? Every day. So initially I didn't think that my clients would be able to get
Yeah.
all of me from a virtual space. I was like, they ain't gonna be able to feel
Mhm.
me. But I have been doing virtual since
Nice.
2020, right? Since the pandemic happened, and it took a little adjusting. But I absolutely am still able to give all of the things through a virtual space. I am currently preparing to transition to doing in-person groups,
Okay.
but I will still be doing individual sessions from a virtual space. And even when I talk to my clients about doing in person, they didn't get spoiled with virtual, the convenience of it. I ain't trying to pull up nowhere. Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't think that for me, but I am big energy, even with children, even when I work with or have worked with children, that is more
Mhm.
complicated to do virtually because you really have to pull them
Yeah.
in to
Yeah.
keep them engaged because you competing against their siblings,
Every,
you competing against the neighborhood kids, you competing against,
mhm.
video games and all
Everything.
of that. So being able to have a lot of tools in your kit as a therapist when you work with kids or when you are in a virtual space to make sure that you can keep your client engaged is mandatory. And so that is also like a strength for me, being able to like, let's go on the fly. Like we can freestyle, we
Yeah.
can rap, we can listen to music, we can dance,
Mhm.
we can do somatic breathing, we can do different things.
Yeah.
And with my kids, I play games virtually, I whoop your butt in some Uno. Tell your mama for the next session she need to buy you a deck of Uno cards. So we like, okay, what you putting down?
Uh,
So there are ways to be able to keep your clients engaged virtual, but you have to be an out the box, non
we're
traditional
creative.
therapist to
Yeah.
do it. You have to be creative, and I'm a little quirky, so I can do those things. We draw and using tools. There's so many free tools out here.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
so looking online, finding free resources, joining communities that, or groups on Facebook that talk about those types of things and being willing to learn, being
Mhm.
open and flexible to learn.
Yeah.
I think that's important for us as therapists.
I love that. I love that. That's like I've never played Uno virtual, so I'm like I might steal that one.
I did times. I did a couple times. And you know what? That kid, they had like a different deck. It's so many different
Uno's
decks of
now.
Uno cards. And so it was like, baby, I need regular Uno.
Right.
Go back to bring regular Uno cards because he was trying to cheat me by playing all these ridiculous cards. But yeah, so just coming out the box and being open to, share your screen and, even watching movies and interpreting those things with some of my younger clients. We may watch a movie, a superhero movie, and I'm like, okay, boom, how can you relate to this client?
Yeah.
Now, what would you do if you had a superpower?
Yeah.
So just finding new ways to meet your client where they are and engage them. That is definitely one of my superpowers as a therapist is engagement.
Nice. I love that. We are coming towards the end, but one of the questions that I want to ask you is what is your why?
Um, I think that therapy chose me,
Okay.
right? I have my journey has been spirit led. I did not intend on being a therapist.
Okay.
I didn't intend on being a
Oh.
social worker. But my journey has been very unorthodox and um, spirit led. And so a lot of times we consider things to be a setback when stuff doesn't go the way we plan it. But if you listen and you are a person that's intuitive or a spiritual person and you are willing to just sit still and listen to that lesson that is being, revealed to you, it can be greater on the other side. And so I did not envision these things for myself. When I created this Black Therapist Matter page, no plans on having a directory. I bought the
Mm.
domain for this page, no plans for having a directory. But I already had the website domain purchased years ago,
Wow.
right? And so being able to listen to spirit and still follow the steps that you're doing and finding your vision on what's important for you. My mission has always been empowering my people, right?
Okay.
And so whether I was doing that through hosting community events before I started doing mental health events, I used to do shows in the city. RBG, which is now the name of my mental health practice, representing brown girls,
Right.
that was representing brown girls productions. I
Mhm.
used to host events to celebrate Black women wearing their natural hair, right?
Oh,
So my thing has always been Black people and loving ourselves and finding new ways to support and build each other. And so I use the monarch of the empowerment expert because even before I was a therapist, I have been empowering Black people. And
nice.
so the packaging looks different, the service is different now,
Mhm.
but it's been the
Same.
same thing. Like this
Mhm.
is in me, right? It's
Yeah.
in me, it was instilled in me from my mom. And so, like, I literally got RBG on me, tattooed on me, even before
Period.
that was the name of my practice,
It's it.
representing
Yeah.
brown girls. So my last name is Brown, and I'm brown. So it's like a double entendre, brown for my people and brown for my family, right? So I'm representing all the way. So my why has always been furthering and helping the Black community. That's always my why. And so once my career transitioned to being passionate about mental health,
Mm,
then that why has shifted. But it's whatever I do is going to be centered around Black people. Period.
nice.
So I always be
I love
centered around
that.
Black people.
I love that. I'm like thinking on while you're speaking, I'm just like, I haven't tried. I used to try to get it out of this field for so long because
Mm.
I'm just like, ah, it's so like, why am I still here? And it's like something keeps pulling me back and back and back. And every time I'm like, all right, I'm done with it. It's like something just like, no, you're not. You know, like go through the feelings, go through the motions now, but come on back. You know, so I'm definitely I like that's what you said because it normalizes for sure the feelings,
Listen,
the
that's
feelings of
why
it.
is so important. The why is so important because when it's hard,
Yeah,
when you studying for that licensure exam, when you are trying to get them clinical hours, when you are waiting for clients to sign up for your practice, and you like, girl, if this is okay, you need to be able to dig deep. And if your why is only centered around money, you're not
you're
gonna
not.
sustain.
Yeah,
You're not going to sustain,
yeah,
right? And so there needs to be some sort of passion behind it. I've always been a passion driven person as
yeah.
opposed to a money driven person, right? And I recognize that I do need money, hello,
Hello.
but I also I have to find fulfillment in whatever work I'm doing. Whatever work I'm doing, I need to feel fulfilled. My cup has to be full
Yeah,
as well because we do a lot of pouring. We do a whole lot of
a
pouring.
whole
So
lot of
I need that to
to feel back.
be filled
Yeah,
and some reciprocity to happen for me too.
for sure.
Seeing the growth, seeing the success in your clients, seeing them work and seeing them meet their goals, like that's fulfilling for me, right?
Yeah,
And even seeing the growth of this directory has just been so beautiful.
yeah.
It's really been super dope. And we just launched on Juneteenth, and we're at 200 therapists already on the site. We have
Wow,
therapists in every state across the country,
wow.
except Hawaii. We ain't got Hawaii yet. I think somebody signed up, but they haven't created their profile. So
Wow.
that's the only thing. I saw somebody sign up, and I think it is someone who I reached out to that is in Hawaii, but they haven't created their profile yet.
Nice.
But just in the time, the feedback that we have received from the directory, people inboxing us like, I found my therapist. I got a consultation tomorrow. Da, 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 da. The people who got sideways comments about us being in the shade room comments, girl, we do not care because we have gotten so many people who have reached out to us specifically saying, I saw y'all in the shade room. You know, we might make a random response to a video and somebody might say, "Why the therapist on here? Cause y'all on here.
Hello.
This is where the community
Yeah.
is. This is where the community. This page is one of the largest pages on social media for Black people. So why would we not be here talking about relevant
Mm-hmm.
topics in our community?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a therapist, your clients, things that happen in society, your clients bring into therapy,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
politics. Honey Demure. I can't tell you how many clients came in and talking about very cutesy.
Very
If I
cute.
was very cutesy, if I was completely oblivious and didn't have my finger, you
I
know what I'm
did not
saying,
know how to do that.
to the street, I wouldn't know what the heck they was talking about, especially these teenagers. Woo. You know, so you have to stay grounded
Yeah.
and not be too far above your people. Now, somebody
Mm-hmm.
else may not want a therapist who is connected in that way. That may not be important for you. You may want someone who's more buttoned up, more corporate, and that's your business. We got them type of therapists on the site too.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Okay. So thank you so much for joining. I'm like here eating it up. I'm
Yes,
like I cannot wait to we log off so I could get like even more nosier on like the website. Um,
listen, open book, very much open, very much talkative.
no, I love it. I love it. I honestly feel like from what I was able to take away from this is just normalizing an overall of therapy and also just normalizing that therapists are people. And so it's definitely refreshing to just hear your perspective and hear what kind of therapist you are in general because we are people. And just being able to understand the importance of connecting is huge. So I thank you for everything that you're doing in general.
Thank you. I received it. Thank you for reaching out and for taking the time to deep dive on our page, you know. Um, and so that is definitely something that courage, like we really are trying to nurture and
Mhm.
support other therapists. It's people who can join our live. It's not like we on there like, oh, are you a member? No, you can't join the live. Like it's open conversation, right?
Mhm.
Because we really just want to engage and just be authentic in our
Yeah.
engagement with our community and building community. So it's been a vibe. It absolutely has been a
Yeah.
vibe. Thank you so much for
Bef-
inviting me.
Before we end, is there anything that you would like for the audience to take away? Anything you have up and coming? Other than like you guys are crazy if you don't run to her profile right after this. If not, you're not doing it right now. But yeah, is there anything that you would like people to take away?
So really, getting what you need from therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that if that last therapist may not have worked out for you, right? But that doesn't mean that therapy is not for you, right?
Yeah.
And that's the statement that we will make very often in our community is that therapy is not for me. Hey, Brittany, therapy is not for me, right? No, that therapist was not for
Yeah.
you, right? So being
Glad you said
mindful
that.
of just like you don't like every black person that you know.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna automatically like every therapist, right? Every black therapist, just because they are black doesn't mean that. So by us having a directory where everybody on here is black, okay. What else?
Yeah.
What else matters to you in finding a therapist? Asking the questions. Do you want someone who is flexible in their hours? Do you want someone who has an office? You may not want to do virtual. It may be important for you to like say, listen, I'm not gonna do right if I'm doing virtual. I need to sit in the office. I want to sit on the couch with the lady.
Yeah.
This a business, right? And so get what you need, right? Get what you need and finding someone, whether you're doing insurance or private pay, get
Mhm.
what you need. Going with the recommendations of your friends is not always helpful because what your friend is coming to therapy for may not be relevant for you, and that person may not gel well with your
Yeah.
needs. So, if anything, visit our directory. We have therapists, like I said, across the country on our site, and each person on there has their own, hours and specialty. We are not responsible for these therapists. We are just a hub where
Right.
they are being promoted, right? So don't come inboxing us talking about, oh, I ain't like her. She was ghetto. Listen,
That
ain't
ain't
got
got
nothing
nothing
to
to
do with me, right?
do with it.
you know so find the person that's a good fit for you, and if they're not, guess what, find another one. try
Mhm.
again try again. But we're here. We don't have any current events that are coming up like on a mainstream. Some local things that we're doing this month just for suicide awareness. It is September, so we definitely will be out, but really just promoting and share the directory with someone you know who is looking for a mental health therapist. Let them know Black Therapists Matter,
Love
BTM.
that. Listen, the merch is
Yes,
here. I'm here
we
for
are in the building. So yes, just sharing it. And also, and I was gonna tell you when you do it, I'm assuming you're saving your live.
it.
And so if you add as a collaborator, also tag my page, Demetria Dominique. So I'm not sure if you're following my page.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I am. I will. I definitely will. I'm so happy you said that because I had this experience before with like finding my own therapist one time, and it was a black therapist, and I was so angry about the way that she showed up. And even like a therapist can get like swayed on like, all right, this is too much, you know what I mean? So I'm so happy you said that because I had to then have someone else tell me like, all therapists are not like that because you're not even like that. And I
Right.
had to think like, wait, I am not like,
You
I'm not
are
even that type of
therapist.
therapist. And
Exactly.
so I was just like, duh. So that just helped me, like, further my search at that time. So I'm so happy that you pointed that out, that, like, everybody, you may not like everybody, and everybody's not going to be for you. So it's important to stay the course and figure out what you are going for, what's your why as to why you're going to therapy. And it doesn't have to be identical to the neighbor or your friend that has recommended you this specific person. So I'm
Absolutely.
definitely like happy that you said that. Really quickly, I know that you do like Friday night lives. Are you still? Uh oh.
Well, I was gonna say it just be various times, but yes, we try to do Friday. I don't think I did this past Friday, but we are about to like we're trying to get the other, like our premium and exclusive members, get them geared up so that soon they'll be hosting lives on our page.
Oh, nice.
But a lot of the people are, this is their first time, so we're needed to kind of like, prep them and get them ready. But by the end of the year, our live schedule will be more robust because other people will be hosting lives on the platform. But currently, we try to go live on Friday, but I can't tell you a time.
Okay, listen, if they get coached by you, we gonna have to tune in because
Just
you're
follow the
good.
page
You're
because we
good.
usually will still share, like schedule it. And so if you follow us, you'll see like, oh, okay, they're going live. And we have various topics. Sometimes it's interviews with some of our premium members and stuff to learn more about them. But various topics. This is September, so we'll definitely be hitting on suicide
Yeah.
prevention this month and giving tips, warning signs, and things like that.
Yes, nice. I love it. I'm definitely gonna look out for that. Um,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was so
Thank
like
you.
I'm
And
looking forward
last
to this.
last thing I want to say, if you are a Black therapist, get down with the tribe, get on
Hello.
get on the tribe, get down with the wave. Best, absolute best rates on the market. Even for our exclusive membership is $15. Like still lower than any market. Psychology Today is like $30 a month. Therapy for Black girls is about $25 a month, and this starting. Those are their base, membership levels. And so no shade to anybody else, but our package rates offer a different level of things, and it's a vibe.
For sure. Hello. I just said as soon as we wrap this up, I'm heading to the website. Okay. Join me
Yeah.
in the website.
Yes,
Cause I'm
yes.
I'm looking into it for sure. um Yes, thank you so much for joining. This was like such an incredible conversation. Like I said, like I wasn't even planning on doing lives, but I was just like, I came across your platform and I was like, yeah, I gotta come out. Like usually, like I said, I do lives in the fall, but
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I gotta come out of my hiding because people need to know. People like this is such a great opportunity for people to just dive in and to even see the representation. Like just the amount of Black therapists that you even promote or have on your platform already is
Mm-hmm.
like phenomenal. I'm just scrolling like, wow, like where is all these people at? Um,
We out here. We out here.
so I'm definitely going to continue to promote your things, and I'm so happy and so proud like that you have been able to choose this direction because it's very needed. And I'm just like it just felt like fulfilling to even see that you are out here just spreading out your joy and staying true to yourself while doing what you love. So that is just an honor to witness. So I'm so happy and so
Same for
grateful that
you. Same for you. Keep shining, and it's okay to take those
yeah.
breaks when you need to. Press pause. I always say, I press pause. I don't stop, but I press pause,
Mm,
regroup, realign, and
hello.
restart.
Okay. Listen, I love it. Again, if for those who have just joined, I will be making this live available on the page. Again, thank you so much, the amazing Prometria Brown. Listen, check her out. All of the descriptions to our conversation will be in the comments below. Thank you so much and have a great night. Stay
Thank you. Bye bye.
tuned.
Oh, look at my sister joining.
Hey.